Hello. This is kind of a recap of lesson plan template for Corrections of Reading Disabilities. I know the other day when we went over it there was a bit of confusion and even on the instructor's part, so I just wanted to clarify some things and hopefully make your life simpler for the weekend while you're doing your lesson plans. Under the content focus, of course, you can just copy and paste what I have in the sample lesson plan to increase knowledge of comprehension for third grade students. Then, under the KSDE Common Core Academic Standards, that is simply a title. After I visited with the creators of this template, that's all it is. So we do not have to put anything in under the Common Core Academic Standards box. Then down here where it says ELA and Literacy Strand, Reading Standards for Literature, that is where you are going to put the standard that you choose, the grade level standard. And you will put the grade number, the box subheading, which is in that gray rectangle highlighted box in the core standards. And let's just take a look at that very quickly. Right here for kindergartners, and I would suggest just to stick with standard number 1 this time, and we're just doing again grade level standards. You do not have to put in the college and career ready standard. That was a misunderstanding on my part from the creators of the template, and I got that all straightened out. So you can choose any of these under number 1 for reading standards for literature, RL, for your grade level. All right, let's go back to the lesson plan template now. And then after you write the grade level, the box subheading, the number, which would be number 1 this time, and that will change throughout the lesson plans, throughout your sections of instruction, but for this set of lesson plans you can just stick with number 1 for your grade level. And then write a measurable objective in ABCD format. You will get points deducted if it is not in ABCD, if there's not a degree of measurement on there. And remember, degree of measurement should not be a percentage unless it's 100%. It should be a number. All right, then in the ESOL domain, if you want to just copy and paste this same standard area, and this is going to change. The cluster has changed to the new and improved ESOL standards, and I also found that out yesterday when talking to another instructor. So since this template has been created, that has changed to what we looked at in class the other day. So for lesson plans 5 and 6, it will be even easier. It will just focus on the grade level and the area, whether it be listening or speaking or writing, and then the standard, and you will put in whether you want it to be for beginning, high beginning, intermediate, for their level of language acquisition, which is at the top of the standards. So if you would like to use the same standard for this set of lesson plans, you are more than welcome to. As we progress in our lesson plans, I would like for you to explore and choose some different standards. But for lesson plans 3 and 4, you can simply copy and paste this standard and this objective into your lesson plans if you so choose. Then again, the key vocabulary is from guided reading, so make sure that you pull out your own vocabulary, not copy and paste mine, from the guided reading material that you have chosen. List any manipulatives you are using for games you are playing, or letter tiles, or anything of that nature. Your literature for your read aloud and your guided reading should go under literature. Then technology, of course, whatever you're going to use there. And any other materials that you might need. For example, any kind of visuals that you're bringing to go along, or props to go along with your guided reading material, especially for ESOL students. The SIOP suggests that you do more tangible items that they can view and touch and talk about if you think they would be unfamiliar with those terms. Under the anticipatory set, then tell me what you're going to do to raise their interest level in the material that you have chosen, the topic you have chosen, and possibly I'd like to see a word web or a KWLS, some type of group graphic organizer where you can generate some vocabulary maybe that they have on their mind that pertains to the topic. That's a very good visual reminder for the group on what you're talking about and how to use that vocabulary. Then essential questions that you're going to ask during your guided reading time, at least one, K, S, and R. And if you would so choose to include more, if you want your criteria for your assessment to be 5 out of 6 comprehension questions, then you can write 2 K, 2 S, and 2 R questions. Then you're going to describe your guided reading. I don't want you to just leave guided reading. I want you to describe what book are you going to use, what are the procedures, what are the steps you're going to take with your book walk, predictions, vocabulary introduction with the mastery word learning. Talk about when you're going to put in your comprehension questions, any vocabulary games you're going to play. And I would suggest that on Tuesday, it be more on the introductory level, and then Thursday, more on the mastery level, where the students are reading more, maybe radio reading, partner reading, playing a vocabulary game to go along with the passage that you've chosen for guided reading. And then for closure, tell me how you're going to review what they have learned, possibly bring in a song or a poem or something that goes along with the theme of that guided reading material. But how are you going to close it up and review and make sure that the students have learned what you set out to teach during that time? Then just briefly for the rest of the lesson plan or your other procedures, again, you do not have to actually administer these activities in the exact order I have them in, but I'd like for you to leave them in this order in your lesson plans. Phonograms, you can just copy and paste what I have in this sample. Fluency drill, I'd like you to choose something here that you're going to do for fluency, whether it be a poem or some flashcards or the Fry word phrases. Movement activity, again, if you are a virtual student and you have not been face-to-face trained in ballophysics in some way through a classroom teacher or through a training that you went to on ballophysics, please do not put ballophysics in your lesson plans. You can put ball activities, beanbag activities, anything you would like to do for the movement activity. If you have an old twister mat that you would like to change into some kind of phonogram or sight word review game, that could be your movement. Playing follow the leader, and incorporating vowel sounds. They have to say a long vowel sound or a short vowel sound as you're doing the follow the leader. Any types of activities like that where you have them up and moving a little bit, or possibly you have a Dr. Jean CD or another brain research activity CD you'd like to use for activity time. But you do not need a standard and objective for any objectives, any activities that are not reading based. You will for the fluency and you will for the phonograms. Your read aloud, again, I need a standard abbreviation there. The strand abbreviation, the grade level, and the number of the standard that goes along with the activity you're doing. And essential questions to go along with the read aloud. Again, at least 1 K, 1 S, and 1 R question. Then for skills practice, put in something that's specific to the area that you're leaning toward for your group goal, but we have not specified that yet. We have to go through assessment results first in order to let those assessments drive your instruction. So choose an area of the big 5 that you would like to do a little skill practice here on. And then integration. Again, you need to use art and technology and music at least once throughout your lesson plans. I'd love to see one of those in there at all times. But if you want to carry over, for example, I highlighted the word begin here on my art project for integration. I know that I will not get that art project finished in one session, so I will continue it then, and then in your lesson plan 2, you can put continue with the campfire art project and describe what you're going to do there. You can also integrate math, science, social studies if you would like. It is not required of you, but sometimes it easily fits in with that guided reading topic that you might have picked. And then don't forget to put your adaptations. Again, our special needs student is going to be autistic this time, so you're going to focus on any kinds of interventions, adaptations, differentiations that you can use for autistic children. You can look some up on the internet. You can use your resources from Exceptional Child, anything from Diverse Learners, any resources that you have that pertain to autism. And I went over a few of those in class on Thursday. All right, and then your assessments. Until we get into the formative assessments, most of these assessments are going to be informal, so I'd like you to indicate that it's informal. Possibly you have a rubric on something you're going to rate them on. Maybe they're fluency phrases. You're going to have a rubric. Did they read fluently? Did they read? How many did they read within a minute? Did they pay attention to any punctuation that was in the slides? You might develop a simple rubric, or just a checklist, or just anecdotal notes on how the students did during guided reading. Graphic organizers are wonderful informal assessments that you can keep to show if the child has retained or comprehended everything that you have taught. And this should easily get you through the lesson plan process for this week. I thank you for being patient with me and with all of us going through this new adaptation and adoption of the new lesson plan template. I think it will be a wonderful change for us, a change in the right direction, but it does take time to get used to them. So good luck with your lesson plans, and I will talk to you in class on Tuesday.